So, I'm making this video for a few reasons. Mainly because I'm seeing stupid Versify reasonings on Gen Pokemon. Another reason is how split most people are when it comes to genning, some being justifiable, and finally, I just want to know how people react to this video. So what is genning a Pokemon? It's pretty much an artificially made Pokemon that was made by external means that was from the games or hardware. While the Pokemon may not be legit, it's legal. Now I'm going to be talking about VGC from now on, mainly due to the fact that genning in Pokemon is related with VGC the most. I've seen the argument of, if you gen a Pokemon, you're cheating and gaining a competitive advantage. The term cheating in this case is subjective, but I'll go over gaining a competitive advantage. Let's say two people fight in VGC and the team is identical. One was genned while the other one was made by using the in-game resources. Now, is that a competitive advantage? It is not due to the Pokemon being identical, but them being built from different means. Now, compare a gen team with perfect IVs to the same team except the IVs are imperfect. Now this is a competitive advantage as your Pokemon has perfect IVs compared to the other team you're facing. Now let's compare that same team that was caught using the in-game resources to another team with the same imperfect IVs. Like with the gen team, you do have a competitive advantage due to your Pokemon objectively being better than your opponents. Even if you disregard everything I just said, and still think genning in a team is cheating, one, you probably suck major ass at playing VGC, major skill issue, and two, it still takes skill to cheat, even though it technically isn't even cheating. If you're a Versify fan, you'd say, oh, well the time that it takes to gen a team compared to building the team in game is still an hour difference, so it's still cheating. I'm sorry, but if you use time as an argument, I'd hate to be rude, but it's an asinine argument. People have actual jobs, and they don't want to waste hours, even days, building a team when they could be spending that time actually playing the fucking game and getting better. Team building is a skill to have when playing Pokemon, but not when it involves something that you actually have to assemble the team in game. Imagine playing another game competitively only to have you unlock assets for a character by playing PvE when you could be spending that time practicing. So really, building a team in game is unideal. Another argument I get is, well, grinding for a competitive Pokemon is easy in Scarlet and Violet. While that may be true, Game Freak tends to take 2 steps forward while also taking 3 steps back at the same time. A few months ago, I made a video talking about how long it took me to make a competitive ready team in VGC. This was mainly due to grinding Terra Shards and Rage, which you need 50 of to change a Terra type, and you get 3 to 5 shards on average, which aren't even guaranteed. Another reason why people gen is due to accessibility to Pokemon. An example of this is Urshifu. Urshifu is arguably the best Pokemon in Regulation D right now, and the only way to get one was to play through Sword and Shield, which I bet some people did not get, buy the DLC, which I bet people also did not get, and play the game just to get one Pokemon, and the other option is trading. Unironically, option 1 would be your best bet to get an Urshifu legitimately, as most Pokemon fans are too stingy with their legendaries, so the chances of you getting one is slim to none. I apologize, but this is the checkpoint of this video. If you're enjoying this video right now, I'd recommend subscribing if you haven't already. I've posted similar video essays on my channel and at least trying to upload every Friday, so if you'd subscribe, I'd appreciate it. Now, back to the video. Another reason why people gen Pokemon is for 0 IVs. Well, for casual Pokemon fans, you may think, what's so important about a 0 IV Pokemon? It's very important, as if you're a special attacker, you'd want 0 IVs in attack to minimize foul play and confusion damage for attacks that you aren't even using. For example, for a Pokemon like Landorus that has a higher base attack stat than special attack stat, despite using special attacks most of the time. So minimizing foul play damage helps a ton. Another example of this is female Indeedee. It gets Trick Room from Terra Raids, however, you can't pass it down when breeding So if you want to get this legitimately, you have to find a 5-star raid, not 6 stars, but 5 stars specifically, and hope it lands on 0 IV in attack and speed, which is near undoable, but it's legal. You want to hear an even crazier example? An Amorous is a Pokemon that was made for Trick Room. So you'd have to catch it in another game, I mind you. Put in Scarlet and Violet to see if it has 0 IVs in attack and speed. If not, you gotta beat Legends Arceus again. Capture the other genies again. Get research level 10 on them again. Catch a Namorous again. Rinse and repeat until you get one with 0 attack IVs and 0 speed IVs. This is more tedious than shiny hunting Manaphy. You could use one without 0 speed, but you gotta remember, Enamorous Therian is one of the few Pokemon that outspeed Ursaluna under Trick Room. Having a speed IV stat of at least 10 means you don't outspeed Ursaluna under Trick Room, and that isn't ideal either. All of this could be solved if Game Freak made a rusty bottle cap item that made your Pokemon have an IV stat of 0 instead of maxing them out. This is why people gen as well. I see a lot of people try to justify their reasonings on why genning is wrong, but the counter arguments are just objectively stronger. I've even heard someone say that Pokemon Showdown is technically against the rule and should not be allowed as well. Honestly, this is the most dumb take I've seen about genning, even more dumb than Verlicify's takes. Also, the creator of PK Hex tries to call people for genning in tournaments when he fucking created PK Hex. That's like saying the creator of kitchen knives is getting mad that people are using knives to stab people rather than culinary purposes. You kinda shot your foot on that one, and there's nothing you can do about it really. Genning was and still is a big thing in competitive Pokemon. However, most top players still do it, yet refuse to talk about it for some reason. It's not like talking about genning Pokemon is going to take away from your street cred or anything. I honestly could care less. And if you're wondering if I have ever genned Pokemon, I have and still do. I bet you Verlicify apologists are saying, "Oh, you've probably never made a legit Pokemon in your life." And as I mentioned before, I talked about how I made my first competitive team in-game using the in-game resources. And I still do legitimately train shiny Pokemon if I find / hash one. Because personally, genning shinies is kinda cringe, especially since they're easy to get, but you do you, I guess. And just as a side note, I intentionally gen Pokemon with imperfect IVs just so I can use bottle caps to hyper train them, as stupid as it sounds. But real quick, can we all recognize that I'm motherfucking furry with an unhealthy superiority complex, by the way? This dude thinks he's the best Pokemon player, but he doesn't even play VGC. No, he plays Battle Stadium singles like an actual Goomba. He tries to find any notable evidence and even goes as far to say RNG manipulation is cheating. This has to be a canon event. This will probably wrap it up for today's video. Like I said before, if you like this video, I'd recommend subscribing. But I did hear this video on if you gen Pokemon, you can actually get a girlfriend. However, I've been bitchless my whole life, so I don't think it's true. Anyways, I'll catch y'all in the next video. Peace.